I want to tell you that one, if you haven't started already, it's now January 3rd. It's never too late. It could be July 7th, whenever. It's never too late to start. What is going on, my friends? Welcome back to another episode and the first episode of The Morning Takeaway this year of 2023. And Happy New Year. And just to catch you up a little bit, it's been probably 2 weeks since I posted on Instagram. Not Instagram, this is YouTube. On YouTube. And yeah, I've been a little unplugged, just being away for the holidays, kind of just being with family, good people, spending it with quality people, and making sure the time was spent in a quality way, right? And I hope that was the same for you. Whatever you were doing, I hope you had an incredible holiday season as we now gear up for the new year. And that's kind of what I want to talk about today. I know it might sound a little cliche, especially as we kind of go through this every year and you hear maybe your favorite people on social media or whoever it might be, that it's a new year, it's a new opportunity, and new year, new me, and all these cliche sayings, right? And I put a story out the other day on Instagram yesterday, basically saying I didn't put anything out on day one, New Year's Day, or the second day, because I wanted to feel what I was saying in that moment and feel like I was living it as well. So full transparency, New Year's Day, if I had it in a perfect world, I'd probably spend it in my house, going to bed before the ball dropped, and it just like waking up at 4 a.m. the next day. But I was out, my friend got engaged, and I was living a little. If you follow me on Snapchat, you saw. I'm now starting to promote my Snapchat, by the way, because it's a little more organic in a way, just because I don't put like music or anything behind things and whatever. I'm getting off topic, but needless to say, there was some good content on there on my story. But with that said, I wasn't really feeling this whole, the motivation and the inspiration as we got into the new year. And that's okay. And that's what I want to talk about today. Not only do I want to talk about, this cliche idea of new year, new me, and like the bad connotation of it, but as well as the good connotation and where we can go with that. And then I also want to talk about, just very quickly hit on how to create a goal, because we are in this season of creating a goal. And it's something that I talk about every day, pretty much on my story, in a caption, or on my whatever it might be. If you followed me for a long enough time, you know that I value discipline and my routines and just a consistent way of life to get 1% better each and every single day. And that's ultimately my goal, right? I want to give you all something and give you all an energy, a vibe, and just like a piece of my life that maybe you're able to take something away and implement something to your own life, so that we can all feel that genuine, natural high. And in my opinion, that's kind of what I'm always chasing, is that natural high. Like, yes, it's nice to have a drink or all this external stuff, but there's nothing like what you experience when you finally start to put maybe 10 days together or 3 days together, or just try something new. That feeling when you try something new and you do it and you're like, wow, that was awesome, I'm gonna do it again. And then you hit day 73 and you don't really do it anymore, right? And it's how do we build that consistency throughout a long period of time, especially at the beginning of this new year, to build long-lasting, sustainable routines to make us feel the best we possibly can. So that was quite the intro. And I'm also realizing my camera is super high up right now. It's way higher than normal, so I feel like I'm about to get whiplash or something from looking up high to my camera. And also, my voice is kind of gone, which is weird because I wasn't yelling and screaming or anything, but you're just gonna have to deal with it. So with that said, if you haven't subscribed already, don't forget to hit the subscribe button, that big red subscribe circle, hit the bell icon so you're the first one to get my videos when they come out. This weekend's video is either gonna be the 1 chip challenge or the finished product of my garage makeover with a couple of new additions and shipments, I guess I should say. So that'll be fun. But also, if you take something away, don't forget to comment. I love talking to you guys in the comments on these things. So with that said, let's talk about new year, new me. So it's kind of the most cliche idea when the year changes to say new year, new me. And some people, like, you hear them say it and you just kind of write them off, right? And you're just kind of like, oh yeah, whatever, you say that every year and this, that, and the other. And it's kind of a way to, it almost like degrades people in a way when you put that. I don't know, there's a weird connotation around it. But what I want to say and put out there to you is the fact that there is legitimately science and research. And this is what I was saying earlier in the intro before I got sidetracked. But I was putting this on my story, and there's literally research that shows that this time of the year, that day one, that fresh start mentality is significant. And they've done research studies with placebo effects or placebo groups and people, a controlled group, and showed that mentality has a significant effect on the outcome and longevity of a goal, a habit, a routine, whatever it is, and the sustainability of it over the long term. So I want to tell you that, one, if you haven't started already, it's now January 3rd. It's never too late. It could be July 7th, whenever. It's never too late to start. But right now, with that January 1st kind of mentality, it's still pretty present. Yes, it was 2 days ago, but if you haven't started yet, it's not too late. And yes, that research of that fresh start, maybe it's next Monday, whatever that is, July 8th or 7th, whatever it is, I strongly encourage you to put something into place and run with it. And that's kind of where I want to go with this whole extra portion of the podcast and talk about how to construct a goal. And number one, why are goals important? If you listen to any kind of, I got really obsessed with successful entrepreneurs from a really young age and just kind of listening to podcasts on them from a young age and picking up little morning routines or morning habits or little things in their lives that they would do. And one thing that always remained consistent that they did was to write out their goals. Not say their goals, but to write out their goals. I can't remember exactly who it was, but this person used to write out their goal, their main goal. I can't remember what it was or who it was, but I remember him saying he would write it out 100 times every single day. And there's something so powerful to that. It's the same idea as journaling. It's the same idea as meditating on a thought, essentially, but journaling probably more so because you're physically putting a thought on paper and your brain is seeing it in a different way. You're putting it out there for your brain to process, visualize, and see, and it's almost making it concrete and tangible so that when you do start to take action on these goals, you're able to ultimately take the steps to achieve them, right? So I think it's important, if you take anything away, to at least write out your goals, whether it's, and we can start from a very fundamental level, whether it's short-term goals, long-term goals, or over the year. I think this gets broken down in kind of the concept that I'm going to go over, which is the SMART concept, and it's very elementary, and you've probably heard it literally in elementary, middle school, or high school, but I think it's a good refresher, or if you haven't heard it, it's something really awesome to be able to go by. So with that said, I guess we'll just jump into that. SMART, it stands for S-M-A-R-T. So it's got to be, a goal generally has to be specific is the S. The M has to be measurable. So can I measure what I want to get? And I think the easiest way to explain these kind of goals are probably from a financial standpoint, because everybody can wrap their head around money. So like specific, how do you make that specific? If you just say, I want to make money, well, that's not very, or I want to make a lot of money. Like that's not very specific, right? So you have to get it specific over these 5 letters. So make it measurable. Let's just say I want to make $100,000 this year, whatever that measurable unit of measurement is or losing weight in the fitness industry. Fitness and finance are so alike in so many different ways, whether it's the little compounding interest of like just putting the daily grind in on your fitness goals, or just putting $10 in every week to your savings account, right? So the measurable, if you want to lose weight, how much weight do you want to lose each week or over the year, and it compounds, right? Attainable. Is it attainable? So attainable and R, some people play with R. I like to say realistic, but I also think that goes with attainable. I think attainable could also stand for action. So what little action steps can you take to achieve that goal, right? So that's not as much within the whole goal itself, but can you break down a goal? So for example, if I want to make $100,000 this year, what are the little actions? Well, I have to save, I'm not a calculator, but what specific amount do you have to make each week or each month or each day, each hour even, and break it down there, right? And like if you really start to do that, by the way, you find, the hourly wage, whatever you feel your worth is, like this is a whole nother podcast for another time, but do and value your time. Not do your time, but value your time to a point where if you broke it down to the hour, then you would feel like that is something that is fulfilling for you, right? Another podcast for another time and the motivational aspect of things, but that's the A, and taking action and having it be attainable. And then R would be, is it realistic? Or reachable, as some other people say. So realistic. Well, if you go and you are, let's say, I don't know, you work at a car wash or McDonald's, and that's no shot to anybody, not at all. And you say, I want to make $5 million this year, right? Well, the realistic aspect of that is probably not as much there, but it's the idea within that. So let's take fitness, for example, as well. If you are maybe weigh 300 pounds and you are 6'5", I'm 6'4" and 240. So if you're 60 pounds heavier than me and you want to get down to 150 pounds, let's use a different example because that would be way too light. Let's say you are, 5'8", 280 pounds, and you want to lose 100 pounds. Well, that is, now, let's say you want to lose 200 pounds. You want to get down to 138, right? It's not going to be too terribly unhealthy, but losing 200 pounds in a year is not really that realistic, right? And to be frank with you, like those people that say, I want to lose 10 pounds in a month, or any scheme that you see that says lose 30 pounds in 30 days is probably not, it's just a marketing thing. I've talked about this in a podcast before, but the average, if you're going to lose weight on average, it's really good to be able to lose a half a pound a week, more or less. And if you do the math on that, that's 26 pounds for the year. So if you say you want to lose 100 pounds, I know people that have done it. There's multiple people that have done that. That's a whole another level, but you got to start somewhere, right? And the point of that R is to make that goal realistic so that when you write it out, your brain starts to say, hey, I can lose 26 pounds this year, instead of, oh my gosh, that's 200 pounds. Like, holy cow, like that's a lot. How am I ever going to do that? Well, your brain starts to be able to break down 26 pounds and you manifest that. And next thing you know, you've lost 26 pounds in 6 months and you're able to lose another 26. So there's a whole psychology behind this whole thing, and something I actually studied quite a bit in my master's degree in my psychology classes. So it's very interesting to see how that kind of works and breaks down in our brains. So that's the R, and gosh, I'm realizing how passionate I am about this. I'm talking really fast. I tend to get going really fast when I get really passionate, but so just like put me in slow motion or something if you need to. Anyways, T, SMART. Time. This is the most important piece in my opinion. The measurability aspect and the time are the most important because our brains can process those numbers, right? So if I say I want to make $100,000 this year, well, that's kind of got a time on it, but it's kind of not specific, right? It doesn't pertain to the S. So I want to put a deadline. You have to put a deadline on your goals. I want to make $100,000 by December 1st of 2023. And you write that. That is a full SMART goal. And then you break that down into the little actions. Or I want to lose 26 pounds by December 29th of 2023. And that gives your brain a deadline. And then you take that into like little micro goals and you say, by January 30th, I want to have lost this much weight. Or, and we talk about in psychology to create a 3 month or a 1 month, a 3 month, and then 12 months. Some people say 9 month goals. So that breaks that down over time based on that exact goal you have. And I feel like I'm kind of jumping all over the place, but the idea of creating a goal and how to create a goal is really making sure it is specific, it is measurable, it is attainable, it is realistic, and there's a time on it, there's a deadline, because our brains feel that pressure of the timeline, right? And I think it's just important to reiterate that, because some people do just say like, oh, like I'm going to eat healthier this year. Like that's a big one. But how are you going to eat healthier? What are you going to do to eat healthier? Like there's so many little things in that one goal as a whole that you could break down in that attainable aspect, in the action. Like in those actions, I would probably put on my goals, if I was going to say I want to eat healthier this year, I would probably make that goal more like I will eat 2 servings of fruit, or 2 servings of veggies, 2 servings of lean protein, and one serving at least of fruit a day, of all those per day this year. That would be like the goal, because that implies that you're eating healthier. It shows what you're going to eat exactly, and it's just way more specific, right? So, and if you take another action of that, you could literally clear out everything in your house that's in a wrapper or in a box and get rid of it, right? These are things that are going to help us eat healthy, because if you create that environment and make it based around your goal, it's going to be that much more easier. That's going to make it much easier to attain and make it more realistic, right? Like it's the same idea. If you've read in Atomic Habits, James Clear talks about like if you're going to set the goal to work out every morning when you wake up and not have it fall off, well, you should put your clothes out the night before and set your environment up for success. I'm not going to eat chips this year. Well, don't have the chips in your pantry. Don't have your cookies in the pantry, right? You set that environment up and you make these goals so much more attainable, and that discipline starts to kind of become ingrained in you in those small decisions like, oh, I could have 1 cookie. Well, if you say that 3 times a week, those 3 cookies every week, 3 times 52, you're over 150 cookies for the year, and those compound, right? So I'm going down a whole another rabbit hole and the whole little things idea of the compounding effect. But if there's anything you take away from me with your goals, I hope that 1, you write them down. 2, you put some kind of measurable aspect on it and put a deadline, whether it's a short-term, mid-term, or long-term goal. I truly think, and I know from experience, that these are going to help you. And if you get to a goal on that deadline, which I was going to say, I've literally had this happen. Last year, I had 10 goals on my refrigerator, and some of them didn't happen when I thought they would, but I was making the progress. And when that deadline comes, it's not the worst thing in the world to just say, hey, I'm going to redo this goal, right? I'm going to take that same goal and say, hey, I'm going to reflect on the goal. And that's what you should do anyways. You should have check-ins with your goal over the year, over the term of that goal, because you're able to see what's working and what's not, and maybe adjust some things here and there to get to that goal or get to a higher goal, or say, hey, maybe we need to make this a little bit more realistic and still strive for more, but now it's more realistic in the sense that you can actually achieve it, right? And it's attainable. So with that said, I feel like I'm rambling on, but I hope there was something that you were able to take away in there and maybe something of value. If you have any questions, leave a comment, because I would love to talk about this kind of stuff with you. I think there's so much value in just manifestation and being able to connect your brain to that physical thought, especially when you write it out. So with that, we're going to end this thing with our random question generator. And Wow, what future? This is crazy. This is crazy. The random question that was generated says, what future year are you most looking forward to arriving? And if you want me to be Mr. not organic, not genuine, I would say 2030, because it's all going to be future and whatever. But the truth is, I don't really care, because a lot's going to change from now and then. The true answer to that, I would say, what year am I most looking forward to arriving, is right now. Because I always say, the little quote that I have is, when you realize that both your past and your future is determined by this present moment, your outlook on life becomes a little bit more clear. And when you can realize, like, hey, this present moment, me doing this podcast right now, answering this question, is going to predict something in my future. Not predict, it's going to have some kind of effect on my future and my past, because once this video is published, maybe somebody takes away something, or maybe somebody completely hates it and wants to, I don't know, right? Like, it can have any kind of impact in the future and the past at any given moment. And the truth is, it's this year. The unknown excites me, and I think that's something that I've thrived off of in my life, and just like the unknown is exciting to me. And I think that leaves kind of a motivation within inside me to stay consistent, stay disciplined, and keep going for more, right? And I think that's my deep answer to the question, rather than just saying like, oh, I can't wait to have hovering cars and teleport, right? Although teleportation would be like the most awesome thing ever, so we don't have to lose out on sleep on planes and stuff. But anyways, that's all I've got for you today. I hope you took something away. Don't forget to subscribe, comment, like this video, all the fun stuff. I will talk to you soon. Happy New Year. Happy 2023. Whatever you do, go out there, get it, because you can do it. I promise you, you can. Just take it one simple step at a time. Simplify, simplify, simplify. Take action, commit to it, and stay consistent. Have an awesome freaking day and year, and don't forget to smile.